how should we title this one? Like,
First of all, let's start off with this. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, right? So happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, sure.
Happy Thanksgiving. So we're in that in between period. Right, it's about to be Christmas.
Yeah, holidays are rough for gay people. I feel like.
Yeah,
Like I think people have issues with holidays, but like,
I think a lot of people have a lot of trauma around holidays, and I think that there's two primary responses to that, specifically within the gay community itself. I think one is to hypercompensate for that trauma by performing within a holiday space, such as
like karaoke.
No, such as like cooking an entire meal, like cooking,
like, or singing,
or acting that, like or singing, or like what I mean by that is like overcompensating for a lack of like familial bond. So like they'll seek it out within a friend group or something like that, and they'll overperform in order to do that, in an attempt to replace unhappy memories with happy memories. I think that a lot of gay people suffer with that, myself included to an extent. But there's also another extreme of that, which is refusal to participate in holiday activities and simply doing what you would otherwise do that day. I've seen a lot of that within the gay community. So like, yeah, I mean, we have our challenges with the holidays, but I mean, we also have our coping mechanisms, so at least we have that to look forward to.
So you're saying that gays are either really good at the holidays, or they're just really not bad, but non-involved. Non-involved, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Typically.
That being said, this is another type of holiday event of sorts. We're going to kick off our episode talking about influencers of the past.
Speaking of gay people.
And some straight, heteronormative women. A holiday of sorts, a birthday dinner.
A birthday dinner! You did it at my birthday dinner!
And you did it
at my birthday dinner!
Sucking black.
Yeah, that part.
We have a lot of thoughts. I think if you're watching these episodes in order, you will have heard her name occasionally. You will have heard her name often. And by, I think, the main stars of one of my favorite films, if not my favorite film, by a sister, we have Miss Tati Westbrook, Miss James Charles.
It came to a point today where I almost asked Siri what year did By a Sister premiere.
And then I asked Siri how many Oscars was By a Sister nominated for.
Because that was a performance of top tier.
She answered none of these questions.
Yeah.
That is not unusual for her.
No.
16 Pro Max AI Siri, beefed up AI, still ignoring me just as much. The thing with this one is that you actually have a shockingly surprising take, and honestly, like I said, depending on how many episodes you've watched this or in what order, you might be shocked at your take. You were saying, about Miss Charles.
I preface it all with this: these influencers to me are not relevant to my life. They do not serve any purpose anymore. At one point, did I look up to them for entertainment? Sure. I mean,
you looked up to them almost. I always look for entertainment, but she bought the palettes.
I did. A couple of the palettes that were brought out by specific creators, I did in fact buy at the time. But I say all of this to say, influencers, they used to carry a lot of weight in a societal sense, in that we looked to them to provide us with reviews, to provide us with, product description, product quality, we looked at them as almost like a salesperson almost, a trusted salesperson who would give us an honest answer or honest feedback. But that has since, changed since we've learned that they're equally as self-involved as anybody else in Hollywood or in an influential space. However, I believe that at one point they did hold a lot of weight in the way that people themselves made decisions, as well as they held a lot of weight in the entertainment provided. And so a lot of people watched them. So they became relevant and quite important and very influential as influencers. However, I think that now that we've had time to analyze what an influencer is, we take a different viewpoint and we take a different approach to looking at these things. In retrospect, in regards to Dramageddon, the peak of all drama in the beauty guru space, in my opinion.
But By Sister is Dramageddon 2. Dramageddon 1 was the whole Manny Laura Lee breakup, right? With Jeffree Star.
We're going to talk about the big four in this episode. The big four influencers, which, in my opinion, were James Charles, Tati Westbrook, Jeffree Star, and who should we include? I'll include Trisha. You know what? I'll even go 5, and I'll include Shane Dawson.
Yeah, Shane is part of this for sure. Even though I don't know her.
However, I guess in the context provided, I am referring to Dramageddon 2, which is the Tati versus James Charles huge thing.
And then eventually Tati versus everybody.
Eventually that. Yeah.
However, and also James Charles versus everybody.
In retrospect, I believe that if we would not have gotten a Bi Sister moment, and we would have gotten, instead, a private, almost intervention of sorts, in that Tati Westbrook and other concerned parties were to take James Charles and stage an intervention with him about his behavior. And I think that if we would have done that, or if somebody would have taken the time to do that, that it would have changed the trajectory of his career and at least changed the way the allegations were brought against him.
That's different than what you said. What you said
in that, hold on,
because we can all agree to that. We can all agree to that.
I think that less allegations would have been brought forward, because I think if it would have come from a place of true concern and behavior was in fact intervened, then he would not have committed such atrocities, in my opinion.
You mean after Bi Sister?
After Bi Sister.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I can't speak for any of the atrocities he's spoken for prior to Bi Sister. However, those things would have qualified enough for an intervention, right? That instead of a Bi Sister video that was done so publicly, I wonder if we would have gotten such a different outcome from a private, response.
And so would this be to say that you firmly believe that the video was motivated by Sugar Bear Hair Care?
That's purely speculative, and I will not agree to that. I think that, there was a lot going on in that video. And,
but what was the motivation, if not? You're right about...
I think the motivation was we watched a woman who was acting like a high school girl.
We're not talking about Jeffree Star, we're talking about Tati. Just to make it clear.
Yes. Yes, I think she was acting like a high school girl, responding to another high school girl, and making it public as to stir the pot and garner drama, garner support of all kinds. And her end goal there was to, in fact, ruin his reputation. I will not sit here and say that is not what she sought to do. That is exactly what she sought to do. She knew exactly what she was doing when she sat down to film that video. She knew exactly the kind of response it was going to garner. She knew exactly what she was doing. And I will not stand for people who are like, well, she spoke her truth. Yes, she spoke her truth. However, was that really something that we needed, the public needed to know about? Yes, it's important that we know that, someone's a predator. Absolutely, it's important that we know that.
Right.
But there are proper channels to do that. And sitting your happy self down, and filming a video about it to gather views and support for yourself and bandwagoning on your side is not the way to do it. That is guaranteed. Like, I can assure you that it's not cute.
Right.
And had anybody else in the beauty space done the exact same thing, I would be saying the exact same thing. But I looked up to Tati for a long time. Like, I thought, oh, here's the strong, mature person in the beauty space. For a long time, I thought she was. I thought she was a stronger, more mature individual. She definitely played the maternal role. She played the maternal role for James Charles, which is exactly why he fell into her trap. Because she played mommy. She played mommy.
I mean, we could say big sister. If James equated that to mommy, that's kind of on James.
That is on James, but granted,
You know?
how many gay people do you know that have mommy issues? Hello.
Yeah.
It's a dime a dozen. You're lucky to come out with 2 out of 12 people that don't have mommy issues in the gay community. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, yeah, just like Jeffree Star's and I heard calling Nikki, Tutorial's mother. And Nikki came before her, right? Like, Nikki's obviously younger than Jeffree, but I don't know by how much. Really.
I mean, nobody's sitting here accusing anybody of, like, anyways, Jeffree Star's been mismothered, for sure. But, I don't know what her beef is with anybody. But she's an angry one. She's an angry little firecracker. She says it's because she's a Scorpio, but Curly Pop, I think it's just borderline.
She could be an Aries.
Leave me alone. Anyway.
No, what you're saying is true about Tati, obviously. She didn't need to say this publicly. She didn't need to... It was obviously... She wanted to destroy his career. Like, this was not a PSA about predators, necessarily, just period. Though it was those things, it counts. She was mad. I just think that, like, as far as saving people, like the dinner in question, was from an underage waiter. We later heard from that boy and told his story about how he was manipulated. And
I don't actually know that.
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it came out. It's not been deleted. All these videos from these boys have been deleted because James has talked to them or reached some sort of agreement.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so. I
think it was a fever pitch of James' behavior. However, yeah, I mean, why they gave up on trying to talk to.
And her whole spiel about not wanting to release the video when he was on the high floor of a hotel. Girl, like, if you really were that concerned about his behavior, why didn't you just shoot him a text and be like, hey, can you meet me XYZ? Like, we need to talk.
Well, she'll say Shane Dawson. She'll say, and Jeffree Star.
And Girly Pop, nobody's influencing your actions more than you.
Yeah.
You're the one taking them. Hello? They can be the masterminds behind the chess. However, you're still the pawn. And claiming to be a pawn in such a scheme is proving you to be more ignorant than we thought you were. Because if you're really that stupid, girl, if you're that stupid to trust 2 people whose entire livelihoods are based off of drama and stirring up conspiracy, then we need to get you checked because you're not making sound decisions.
It sounds...
You're certainly not trusting the right folks.
No, I mean, I believe in the encouragement part. I mean, they were going to be a gang. They concurred with James. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, even to this moment, the reason we're talking about this is, 1, it really is my favorite movie, and 2, like, it's all in the news because Jeffree's doing a round of interviews with Trisha Paytas, with Tana Mongo, like, well, I think it's Mongo, actually.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I always call her Tana Mongo.
So there is all this resurgence of Tati's trying to, like, plug along on QVC on TikTok, like, and it's not working.
Talk about age-appropriate behavior. Talk about age-appropriate behavior.
Jeffree's doing it too.
Talk about age-appropriate behavior. Hello. Talk about age-appropriate behavior. We live for a QVC queen. Come on, Miss Whole Shopping Network. Tati Westbrook is going to sell the absolute hell out of those hairdryers.
I hear this.
She's going to, and she's going to do it with the makeup brushes. She's going to do it with the
I want them all to win, so I hope so.
I don't have any stake on whether or not they win or lose. However, she is nothing more than a salesperson with a platform.
I mean, they all
are.
Like,
that's literally what they are. Like,
Michaela Nigeria.
Michaela.
Michaela Nigeria. The thing about it is with Tati, and I do believe that they're like, we're the crew, we're the OGs. Like, we, they all had beef. Like, the Dawson twins, let's just say. All that tea about James Charles. Like, she had...
Dawson twins.
No. Do you not understand the air quotations?
Oh.
Come on, get with it. So the heard stories. Like, Shane had I think Shane probably had less personal Tati stories, but anyway, all this stuff was known, right? So Like, then even to this day, on Tana, on Trish, presumably, which hasn't dropped yet, like, Jeffrey, as much as she hates Tati, she tells the same story about James as Tati tells in the video. You know, she does. Like,
I mean,
in both films, both the first and the
please
sequel.
keep in mind what she has at stake. Please keep in mind what she has at stake. She did, in fact, and was, in fact, I do believe, exposed for having conversations with Tati prior to the video's release. Therefore, if she were to speak any other tune as to what had happened with James, she would be found liable of lying. And that would be her demise, in that it would be discovered that she did, in fact, set somebody up for failure.
She survives everything.
But she did survive, and I mean, it's not because... I look at her as like the Kanye West of the beauty world. Okay, she's crazy.
They work together.
She's crazy. You know,
the Wyoming move, same time. Okay.
She's crazy. She's crazy. She's crazy. She's crazy. And she's got those weird Wyoming boys doing her videos with her, which I think, girl, if you're gonna do it, at least get the ones with body. But, you know, I mean, I digress.
So you have
However, I mean, they pop up on my For You page before you block an influencer, and even when you block an influencer, they pay to get you off their block list.
The boys are fine. They're not giving Los Angeles model, no. But they're giving exactly what they are supposed to be giving.
Which is what?
Wyoming.
Country trade.
Yeah, country trade. You know. Which, honestly, let's bring it back. You know. Let's bring it back.
Are we sure about that? I don't know. I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to see a man with like a homemade AR-15 tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my game.
A poke and stick.
Shit, it was a tattoo gun they bought for $30 at a garage sale.
Ooh.
That's what I thought.
That
needle's been used several times on many different people.
I'm not a drop of contaminated.
What is hepatitis D? Anybody know?
What's up with Jim and Jeffree Star? Speaking of Jeffree and boys, like, do you know about that? I don't know much about it.
What do you mean?
Jim, the TikTok Jim.
The TikTok Jim.
You don't know where she's not. Yeah, she's not really on everyone's page. But yeah, this straight boy, Jim and Jeffree, and together and now separately, you hear more about the post than you did about the during. Publicity, I don't know.
I have no clue what we're referencing here.
Oh, okay. Well, then before the Montana boys, the Wyoming boys, I mean, it was Jim.
Cool.
So.
Well, I personally, I believe that, like, I think that when you're an influencer, like, you kind of hold a responsibility to the public.
Well, then Tati would say that she'd use that responsibility.
Really? Did you? Did you use your responsibility, or did you abuse your power? Which was that? Like, that's not cute. Like, if you were to argue that in front of me, I'd be like, no, girl, there's a difference between using your responsibilities and abusing your power. And there's absolutely, definitely a problem with that.
If the playground is public space, but the shit goes down in private, but you're still public space friends, is it appropriate to take private shit into the public space?
In my opinion, absolutely not.
Okay.
What does the public need to know about it? If it can be dealt with in private, deal with it in private. The only reason that you would ever get the public involved with something is to bandwagon. That's the only reason that you would, is to garner support for your argument. That's the only reason you would get somebody so involved. Unless this were a public hearing at a public courthouse that is built for the public, then it's not public it's not a public matter.
Yeah,
it can be dealt with in private.
Rest in pieces to the YouTube CEO, but like I think the reason that the sequel was put out by Tati is because the downfall of James Charles was not imminent. It didn't really happen. Like, the CEO very much backed James. James was still getting great numbers. James very much survived. The only reason that James is in the situation that she's in now is that the beauty industry is just dead, period, you know?
Not only that, but her behavior has proven her to be absolutely, completely atrocious.
Yeah, but...
She does things with minors that should not be done with minors. She that I think she's now legally required to ask for people's IDs before engaging in behaviors with them.
Yeah, she definitely said that on her own accord.
And like I still see other influencers that kiki with her, and I'm just like, you're all disgustingly enabling.
Yeah.
Like, why would you enable this behavior? It's giving Naomi Campbell at like Jeffrey Epstein's party. You know what I mean? Like, it's not looking good for you, babe. But you know, like, he could be our next Diddy. Like, he could be our next like Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal now that it is in the public space. Like, we're here, we are, like, you know, just talking about it. I mean, it's obviously other people are talking about it, so we're talking about it. But like, if we weren't, we would still talk about it. We talk about it.
It's time for us to be hyper aware of these things.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, it's incredibly time.
And for that, Tati is sort of, I mean, whether or not the motivations were this or that, like, I mean, because of the what's happened and James proving
I think
her
that
right.
We all kind of were able to look at Tati and take her side because that was the peak of the Me Too movement at the time.
It was.
So I think that we kind of took her power in stride with that, and we were like, oh yes, speak your truth. Like, so we had a different viewpoint of it and a different perspective of it then. However, I do fully support the Me Too movement. Absolutely will I support women's rights, and definitely will I support the reprimandment of those individuals who have sexually exploited women.
And
however, I also believe that given the response to the Me Too movement, that is incredibly important for us as individuals within society to be hyper aware of everything that goes down within society. And it is important that we know what goes down in Hollywood and how children in Hollywood are being treated, and children in the beauty space are being treated, and how children are being influenced and how they are being, you know, I think it's incredibly important that we recognize those things from, you know, one end of the spectrum from being sexually exploited to another end of the spectrum being religiously exploited. You know, like, we need to be on the lookout for all of these things. However, I don't think that, you know, putting in your mouth at the same time that they took you to Coachella argument and sucking dick and cock at my birthday dinner, and then going on to accuse of being a predator. Like, I don't know if all of those things equate, so I think they take away from the argument.
Yeah.
Therefore, I think that because of all three of those arguments being presented in the exact same way, that they were in fact treated as a need and desire to bandwagons against a specific person. And although the response was massively in favor of James Charles, at least from a business perspective, it was only because he was making so much money with Morphe at the time, because he was about to release
making so much money with everybody. YouTube
she was making huge money with YouTube, and YouTube was garnering massive revenue from her. And I think the downfall of James Charles also, you know, embodied the downfall of YouTube itself.
Honestly,
it can be, it's almost parallel. Like, after all of that went down, huge.
There are no more stars on YouTube. Like,
there aren't, and even after, like, when was the last time I watched a series after the Jeffree Star conspiracy with Jane Dawson? Like, there has not been one.
So for me, I'm a niche of the niche type of person. So YouTube lives on for me. Love it, like, support it. But yeah, for the masses, for all, like, James Charles, what was the weirdest thing about her is she's like that Pied Piper of young girls. Like so many young, presumably hetero girls. I don't like to sexualize children, unlike some people. And I don't mean James. I mean, like, so many. Like, why do people choose, like, what sexuality a child has? Like, oh, I bet you're gonna break all these hearts. You're gonna have lots of boyfriends. You know, have lots of girlfriends. So I'm not sexualizing any of these young girls, but I will just say, like, you know, presumably, you know, statistically, they may, you know, are probably not going to be lesbians, but, you know, maybe they are. So James Charles had the hugest child audience of any of these people, like, and it's crazy what happened.
I think that it is, you know, looking at it from that perspective too, like, I think that the question that millennial parents need to be asking themselves specifically. Millennial parents have been the most hands-off generation that I've ever seen in parenting, and that's so wild to see. I mean, I see like my smaller cousins who are raised by millennial parents, and it is just wild to see the juxtaposition.
Luckily, all the children on her contest
but
were gay
millennial
boys.
Parents, hey, and you later Gen X parents, you need to be watching what your children are watching.
Yeah.
You need to be more mindful of that.
Where they go visit.
YouTube Kids is not safe. It's not a safe place. You may think that it's because it's marketed for children and that it specifically specializes in child content, that it would be able to vet and filter out material for your children. It cannot.
It's like,
sticking an iPad in front of a child to appease it is not parenting.
No.
Just so you're aware.
Luckily, we don't think that James likes girls or gay boys. So
she likes young straight boys.
Yeah.
So moms of young straight boys, y'all aren't immune.
Yeah. And if you're going to let them go to the James Charles contest or a video series, make sure they get yassified before they go, because that's the only thing that's going to keep them safe.
Yeah, please. Make sure they're yassified, please. Put a lash on her. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, anything. It will detract. It will turn.
Oh, put this in the inner corner. Here's your highlight.
Seriously though, I don't know anyone who's had a bigger impact. James Charles is culturally important.
Not culturally important. I will not.
Relevant. Culturally relevant.
I wouldn't even culturally influential.
I mean,
he has been culturally influential. And that is not
was
culturally infamous.
Was Jeffree Star ever on daytime TV? Because James Charles was, even before her fame. Really,
she was on Ellen.
She was on Ellen. Ellen was Ellen, as far as it seems, very.
And speaking of influencers who have seen their space in odd television debuts, Trisha Paytas has had so many weird ones. What, she was on America's Got Talent or something like that for reading fast or something.
That's random.
Something so wild.
I love Trisha.
I do actually really love Trisha. I love Trisha Paytas.
I did not. I only know that the frenemies thing was the only thing I caught. I did not like that guy. He puts me off so bad.
Ethan?
Yeah. So bad. And it's all that homophobic stuff that people just want to gloss over.
I mean, I don't. I think Trisha did a great move by going solo, and clearly we all knew who the public preferred.
For real, he bought that big studio, but I don't think he does numbers to support it.
Nobody who listens to her. Who listens to her? Are the Trisha fans? Are the Trisha fans that are still, beefing about the podcast? Are they still listening to her? Just to see if she's still. I bet she's still talking about Trisha. I bet she is. I bet she can't get that name out of her fucking mouth. No, either she can't stand it or she always talks about it.
She hints at these reunions for frenemies, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
Girl.
Why in the world would?
Yeah, I don't listen to her. I don't listen to her.
But Trisha, I mean, she's now reunited with Jeffree Star. She's survived so many controversies. People are saying, well, why are you talking to Jeffree Star? Last we heard you are...
Girl, why not? They live thousands of miles away from each other. They can have their little powwow moment when she flies in, they can do their little kiki session and continue about their life. It's not going to be relevant after a while. Jeffree Star is just going to keep going on her lives and keep doing her thing, beefing with random fucking people in the public. And Trisha Paytas is going to continue her podcast, and it's going to be oh, we made up, and this was for publicity, but now what? Nothing. Oh, okay, cool. Let's just keep going. That's just going to be what it is.
Everyone moving. That's all that. There's not a scene anymore. Essentially.
No, it's so wasted. Who cares if they were beefing in the first place? And, who cares if they have a reunion? Obviously their lives have gone on far well enough without each other. So, what's the difference whether or not they have each other? So,
And
Yeah.
now,
What's the difference?
like Michaela's, who I can't stand, rise through TikTok. I mean, it's such a
That is such a weird. That is such a weird.
Because she is the successor.
She's so
Whether I like her or
weird.
not, she's the successor.
She's so weird. Before I blocked her, she'd be like up on my For You page, like selling like 17 different products, and like
not wearing a single one of them.
All of them were advertisements.
Yeah.
Every single one of them were advertisements.
But she's never disclosing, right? She doesn't disclose.
I don't know. She got in trouble with the FTC, from what I understand, at some point within her career. I don't exactly know.
She has backing. She has crazy management. It seems.
She gets on my nerves.
She's not on her own.
Like that loud, abrasive, theatrical response to beauty is incredibly odd to me. I mean, it has a market. Sure, people love her. They think that she's the loud girl. She's the funny girl. She's the Duff. But like we get it. Most of you relate to that. Like, that's great. But like it gets on my nerves personally. So like she's been in her own fair share of controversy due to the fact that she's also been incredibly dishonest in her advertising techniques, as well as the product demonstrations that she does. And she's been exposed like several times. But as far as me being concerned about it, no. I mean, I think there's smoke and mirrors in all sales.
The reason
which is what she is. She's just a walking billboard. That's what all of these people are.
Is that presumably
they're just walking billboards.
They do well. She does well on TikTok. But like, I blocked her in COVID times, so like I can't stand her.
COVID times.
But the thing is that why it's relevant to the show, like it's not just discussing drama for random reasons, is that the beauty industry was heavily gay. Like, though we don't want to claim James Charles because she is a different type of sexuality. She is unfortunately the dark side of the rainbow, I would say. So basically, like,
which there's going to be a dark side of that no matter what sexuality.
We have Nikki. She's part of the community. She's still going, plugging along. But
proud of her.
But after a terrible scandal of somebody blackmailing her to
reveal that she was a sister, and like, what for?
Yeah.
What does that do for anybody? All it did was just solidify her fucking support for ruin her marriage. How?
Well, that's
it's
what
2020. It was what, 2021 at the time.
I think it was like 2023. Yeah.
Shame. These are modern times. Who gives a fuck? Clearly he doesn't. He's seen what's down there. Obviously, you think they're gonna not test the waters before they, commit to life together? Like, hello? Like, what kind of world are you living in? Like, come on. They've definitely explored each other. They're adults.
Well, we don't know if she's got bottom surgery or what.
That's purely speculative too. As that beautiful Australian man said, let 1,000 blossoms bloom. What do I care? But I ain't spending no more time on it.
We're talking about Troye Sivan?
Because every 3 months, someone's getting eaten by an
elephant. The politician. I thought we were talking about her blooming.
No, poison.
So like, this was a really gay part of like pop culture history. It was predominantly, LGBTQ plus.
We had representation at one point.
Yeah.
Like, we felt as though, wow, these are people we can look up to. These are people who can represent us in ways that we haven't seen before, only to be met with their shining piles of shit.
The impact of Jeffrey's representation and of James's is heavy.
It's heavy, bro. Like, we do so much fucking work to distance ourselves from what straight people accuse us of being, and you're out here doing the very thing that they accuse us of doing, and you're the one that's gonna be the poster child for this crime that we never commit, but you chose to do.
I actually meant that as like a positive thing with like their representation of their physicality. But you're right. No, that we are having to outrun allegations now on a heavier pace than we were prior to them, which sucks. Because let's break it down. As much as what I do, and I did not like Jeffree Star. Like, I knew her around back in the day, but I do now. I did, especially during the COVID or the 2017. She was impressive. Like, how her rise monetarily and the fame. But the truth is that James's playbook is not so dissimilar to Jeffrey's, except that Jeffrey, of course, found of age straight men, you know. But that is still her MO, and it's James's MO too. James just
and she was such a weird trick back then.
Yeah.
Like, she was weird. Like, girl was weird.
proud of that. I
She
think
was
she is,
weird. Like, no wonder her and Eugenia Cooney get along, because they're the exact same thing, different implementation. Like, take Eugenia Cooney and put her in a gay man. Jeffree Star. But you take Eugenia and you put her in a relationship with a mom with Munchausen's by proxy, you get Eugenia Cooney. Which I will firmly say, and I firmly believe that Eugenia Cooney is suffering from Munchausen's by proxy.
I can see
Because I firmly believe that her mother keeps her anorexic. I believe it. I believe that so many people in her life keep her anorexic, and I don't think it's healthy. Remember Rudine? Real Oprah fans will remember Rudine. Rudine was some spectacle that Oprah kept as a pet for years. And she was some girl who suffered from terrible anorexia and was constantly brought on the show to document her journey until her inevitable and imminent passing from anorexia. That's what we're watching with That's what we're watching with Eugene. Eugene is just another Rudine.
Yeah, and then we speak from the histories with this as well. We'll do an episode on that sometime.
Yeah.
Because I think
these are not baseless accusations,
Yeah.
and I have myself, in fact, struggled with my fair share of eating disorders. So
yeah, so it's important to
game recognizes game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know what we're gonna do though. Like, I mean, there's nothing has replaced this. It seems now like a moment in time. You know, so many of the players have just moved on, fallen to different things. Some gone crazy, some stayed crazy. You know,
Yeah.
Like, do we have to do anything? I mean, aside from cautionary tales,
we should, in my opinion, I think we should stick to our guns and learn from the mistakes of the famous, not repeat the same mistakes that they've made. And, just in our own lives, make sure that we're upholding our own morals and at least have that.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that, as far as chasing other forms of entertainment goes, the B-rated horror films are also a great place to start. So, I think that, those are a great pastime in the meantime.
Yeah.
Until we find another, form of
I'm kind of hoping for that. Yeah, I'm down for a return to actual art. Whether or not it be
legitimate artistry.
Film. Yeah, or TikTok has definitely taken what the beauty industry kind of was and now diverted it into more of okay, aside from Michaela, who I don't really recognize, is part of this. Our community has gone on to TikTok, and they have. If there's going to be a review or something, it's going to be quick. It's going to mostly be about the down and dirty of life and thoughts and very very expose in a fun way, in an honest way. There's no more pretense that I think the beauty community had a lot of, so we kind of done away with that. So we have that social fix, but when we want entertainment, we're going to go and actually watch some art, it seems like that's been the solution. That's the new mix, the new cocktail. So I don't know if really any of this beauty industry shit is going to ever pop off again, or we're going to have some sort of all the gay bullies, all the gay influencers, they're all gone now. Everyone as that one. We were watching a creator earlier today on TikTok. I'd seen it, but I think Hayden just saw it today, and he was roasting
the straight influencers.
Yeah, the 10-second VPL reveal, basic jeans and t-shirt, sort of get ready with me. That is there's. It's almost they're not trying to sell any clothes.
They're trying to sell themselves.
Yeah, people selling clothes on TikTok Shop, you will know. This isn't about.
Oh, this T-shirt gathered a reaction by my family at my family reunion.
That's when you know it's a fucking ad.
So we just have we have a different type of product placement now, where it's insanely obvious or insanely not obvious with a Michaela situation to people are just trying to sell themselves. Like, and that is really, what, honestly, we talked about it. Like, what we're trying to do is also sell our personalities as well. Like, we're not trying to shill anything, other than that, just be ourselves,
Yeah.
and that's so refreshingly authentic for everybody. So that's a wave worth riding. Will there be anybody on top of it? Will there be like a gaggle of like gays or even like or straight people running the scene? It doesn't really seem so,
Yeah.
Everyone's just sort of in American fashion doing their individualist thing, The most thing I've seen is like maybe Bach, and like Bach has seems like and Pierre, they have like lots of like collabs and friends, but in America I don't really see anyone collabing anymore,
Yeah.
So you hate Bach a little bit.
The musician?
No, the when you said, "Oh, you're watching that twink again," like the one that does the makeup in the subway, in France. Awesome.
Anyway.
The way I
This one. Her.
Oh, her. She has a perfect body.
Oh wow, that's just something complimentary. I'm surprised. I don't know where the makeup videos are, but yeah.
I could wear her skin.
You got real lambs with it.
That's just a Beyonce quote.
Oh really? She's quoting Silence of the Lambs. Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I don't know. I mean,
Huh?
reference.
I mean, your body is pretty damn similar,
Thanks.
so I think you're fine. Bach is cute though, but so are you. There's room for both of you.
Oh.
No, I mean like in the world.
Just let him dig. Just let him dig. He can swear some words.
So I don't know. I'd like to see gay people be like on top again,
Yeah.
I'd like to see some media representation. I'd like to see like less controversial media representation.
Yeah.
I mean, we hinted at like talking about this before, but I mean in pop culture, who do we have? Like
Shawn Mendes.
Yeah, Noah Beck,
Harry Styles.
Harry Styles. You see a trend, a pattern here? Vincent Boone.
Vincent Boone.
So,
Horrible pick.
okay, at least she's transitioned.
From twink to bear.
No, I mean, she's out. She's out of the forest. I don't.
Is she? Because she looks like she's just entered.
The bear allegations are wild with you, but not wrong. So
We saw her at ACL.
oh, I
Both of her gems.
I love.
You will have to cut that one out. I will cover her so hard because she looked cute.
She did look cute. I
She looked
like
cute.
her new look. But
Yeah.
but you were just shocked because you hadn't seen her in a while.
Yes, I was like, damn, girl.
I see Orville Peck every time she comes to town. But I will say she did not want to
on
be there.
that testosterone.
She did not want to be there. I will say that. It
was hot.
It was not her best performance.
She's what, South African?
She is from South Africa.
Yeah. So it was too hot for her.
She's used to it. It's hot in South Africa. It's not as hot though as in other parts. Having lived there. Okay. Well, I think
On that note.
I think that this is still a situation of being gay and confused of what's going to happen next.
So stay gay.
And we'll stay confused. I think everyone gay is confused right now. We're just going to try to make it through the new year.
And make it.
Yeah.
After we'll discover what life will be like after January 6th.
Wow.
Or whenever the
Was
inauguration day is.
it really a Taylor lyric? Where were you, January? Someone said that. Is that really part of her? No? Yeah, we don't know. Anyway.
Taylor Swift?
There'll be a song about it. She's
I
gonna
have
be a song
no
about
clue
it.
what she's doing these days.
You don't know who she is.
I don't. Who is she? Who's that?
Alright, bye.
Who made her?
Oh yeah, we're going to Charlie again. So
Yes.
and
Love Charlie XDX.
we'll see y'all. Bye.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Oh, good.